Well, good morning, Oakview Middle School students and staff. Welcome to our annual Memorial Day Assembly. This Memorial Day Assembly is an Oakview tradition which has now been in existence for 26 years. Even during the last couple of years of the pandemic, we've been able to have a video or other types of ways to keep this tradition alive. The purpose of our time together this morning is to provide a brief history of why we celebrate Memorial Day, and through selected readings, musical selection, and shared messages, honor and remember those who have sacrificed so much for our freedom that we enjoy today. Before we start, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few students and staff who have made this event possible. Thank you to our band, choir, and orchestra students for their willingness to perform today. Thank you for our student readers and performers. A special thank you to QCTV for their partnership, who have made it possible for our 6th and 7th grade students to watch this live stream in our classrooms. Thank you to Mr. Hubner, our custodial staff, for the setup. Thank you to Mrs. Grapevine, Ms. Pavot, Mr. Blease for the musical selections today. And again, a special thank you to Mr. Blease. Without his leadership, these Memorial Day assemblies wouldn't happen. So thank you to all of those folks that make this morning possible. I'd like to give a brief history. So Memorial Day was first officially proclaimed on May 5th, 1868 by General John Logan, National Commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, and was first observed on May 30th, 1868. On this day, flowers were placed on the graves of Union and Confederate soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery. By the end of the 19th century, Memorial Day ceremonies were being held on May 30th throughout the nation. And in 1971, Memorial Day was declared a national holiday by Congress. At this same time, it was determined to recognize the holiday on the last Monday in May. On this day, multiple ceremonies are held at cemeteries across the country. Speeches are given honoring those who have sacrificed their lives for our country. Wreaths are laid to commemorate their sacrifice, and taps are played to honor their service. Students, for the next 30 minutes or so, I ask that you focus your entire attention on the music, shared readings, and our guest message this morning. I know that you're capable of showing the utmost respect during this important assembly. At this time, I invite all audience members to stand as our choir performs the Star-Spangled Banner and remain standing as Caleb Jones will lead our school in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time I would like to introduce our readings for the morning. First, we will hear a portion of President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address by Faith Bouguet. Following this selection, Raina Severance will share In Flanders Field, And our last reading will be a personal essay written and shared by Anne Gendro.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we engage in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be here, dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. And that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie. In Flanders fields, take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours, to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
In the dictionary, Memorial Day is defined as Memorial Day, a noun, a day set aside in the U.S. to honor the men and women who have died while serving the U.S. military, now officially observed on the last Monday in May. I'm not one to argue with Mr. Webster, but Memorial Day is so much more. In my opinion, Memorial Day is one of the most important days. Good morning, my name is Anne Gendro. Growing up in a military family, the importance of this day was pointed out a lot more than other holidays. Recently, our band teacher, Mr. Blease, made a good point. Everything we have and are able to do is because of what they have done for us. Let that sink in. The freedoms we have in this country are because of what they have done for us. These men and women have paid the ultimate price. They laid down their lives for us, just so we could be free, speak our opinions, and love our families. My dad, who served in the Air Force for 21 years, tears up when I ask about Memorial Day. He talks of two fellow agents who didn't come home to their families like he did. He wonders about all the headstones marked as unknown and the families with no closure, always wondering where their loved ones are. And he tells me about the guilt that not only him, but many, many others feel, that he was able to come home. And he tells me about our family friend, Mr. Brian, who was exposed to a toxin that gave him cancer, and his family and all his friends had to watch him wither away. I remember Mr. Brian. I was in second grade. My mom came to pick me up from school that day. I was prepared to see how Mr. Brian had magically gotten better. You know, second grade optimism. Instead, we reached their house, and lots of people were sitting together crying. My mom broke the news that Mr. Brian had died. She told me it was okay to cry, and I did. Mr. Brian was kind, funny, and an amazing dad. Because he loved his country so much, he ended up paying the ultimate price and left behind his wife and 3 kids and many friends. And it's not just him. There are many other men, women who make a sacrifice every day. We are blessed to have these kind, brave people who are willing to do this for us. This is why Memorial Day is such an important holiday. It is about honor, bravery, love, freedom, and making a sacrifice. For some people, a sacrifice is time or money to help others. But for these brave men and women, they gave in their lives. They knew that this was a possibility as soon as they signed up. They knew what they were defending and what they were and still are protecting me, you, all of us, our families, and what we love. So this Memorial Day, and hopefully every day, let's honor these men and women who have died while paying the price for our freedom and this country. As middle school students, we can say thank you to those who have served and are serving, to their families, be respectful, maybe even volunteer to place flags at the graves of fallen veterans. However you choose to observe this holiday, make the most of our freedom and use it in a good way. Make our fallen heroes proud and make their sacrifice worth it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to our student readers. At this time, I would like to introduce the following musical selections. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker this morning. Captain Takesha Hunt began her military career in January of 2012 with the Minnesota Army National Guard. She served in the human resources field with assignments in the United States, Kuwait, and Iraq. From 2018 to 19, Captain Hunt was assigned to the 34th Infantry Division, G1, at Camp Arfan, Kuwait, where she was a G1 Human Resources Operations Officer supporting 12,000 soldiers located in 12 different countries. In 2019-2020, she deployed again as a Senior Human Resources Manager for the 834th Aviation Support Battalion at Camp Ering, Kuwait, and a short time at Camp Taji in Iraq, where she supported over 600 soldiers located in 5 different countries. Captain Takesha Hunt is currently the commander of the 147th Human Resources Company, where she is responsible for the health and welfare of 96 soldiers. Captain Hunt is currently a proud employee of our Hennepin School District, serving as a Human Resources Manager of our Employee Services Department. Please join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Captain Hunt.
So I might be in the military, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, I am deathly afraid of public speaking. But when I was told about this opportunity, even though it's an emotional day for me, I definitely want to come and do this. So thank you. Thank you, Principal Lunding, Mr. Blease, students, staff of Oakview Middle School, and those who are present online. I thank you for being here today. It's an honor for me to stand in front of you and speak about something that I hold near and dear to my heart. Remembering the sacrifices of those who served and did not make it home. So technically, the summer starts on June 20th, but many people consider Memorial Day the unofficial start of the season. So it's time for us to go to the pools, hit up the water slides, and start going out to the cabins, right? Well, this year, we will be celebrating the holiday on May 30th. Many families, including mine, will be heating up their grills and heading out to the beach. But Memorial Day has the word memorial in it for a reason. The national holiday got started on May 30th, 1868, when Union General John A. Logan declared the day an occasion to decorate the graves of Civil War soldiers. He called it Decoration Day. Decoration Day, I guess it makes sense. After World War I, the holiday was more commonly known as Memorial Day. So enjoy your day. Enjoy the extra time you get to spend with your families and friends. Enjoy the backyard barbecues, because I know I will. And enjoy it however you decide to. But I ask you this, please don't forget why you get to. This is why many of us gather here to honor the veterans, those who were willing to give up themselves to defend their brothers and sisters of their country. Memorial Day is a day we as a country come together and honor and remember servicemen and women who answered America's call and paid the ultimate price. Memorial Day is a time for Americans as one to stand and say thank you. We remember you. We are grateful to you. We remember our fallen. We honor their loved ones, their mothers, their fathers, their sisters. We honor their family. Every year, families of the fallen are joined together and bond by loss in many ways that most of us can't imagine. But military families are something special, aren't they? Bereaved parents often become isolated from the tragic loss. Friends don't know what to say about grief, nor words can touch or understand what they're saying. We just don't have the words for the parents who lost their children. So those mothers and fathers, our military fallen, they call themselves the Gold Stars. the Gold Star parents, based in the tradition of the service flag that hung on their homes during the wars. For each blue star on the banner stood for the loved one overseas, and the gold star for the ones that never made it back home. So we remember, and we thank you for your sacrifice. And I say we because I made it back from my 2 deployments. It's daunting, I know. We think of this tremendous sacrifice survivors and veterans have made physically, emotionally, and we may wonder, how could we possibly say thank you? You can show your thanks in many ways. The best way is to honor those who have fallen by caring for their wounded brothers and sisters and safeguarding their families that are still back here with us. You can also put up flags on graves of people who have survived the wars or people who didn't survive the wars. Fly a flag at half-staff until noon on Monday. Visit monuments dedicated to soldiers and sailors and Marines. You can also participate in a moment of remembrance at 3 p.m. local time on Monday. I mean, you could even march or join a parade. It's up to you, but I just ask that you remember the fallen. So take the time, not just for Memorial Day, but every day, and take a moment to say thank you to our fallen. For those who never left the battlefield, we must hold them in our hometowns and honor them in our memories. We should spend time reflecting on their service and their sacrifice. And I live in gratitude each and every day for the precious gift that I was given to be able to stand before you and come home and see my family again. As a nation, we made a promise that must be kept to honor our fallen, and we must keep that promise. So please spend some extra time with your loved ones. Step back from the daily stresses of school and homework, from your sporting events and teachers, your work lives and staff. And reflect on your freedom that so many of our sons and daughters died to protect. I'm not asking you to stop your barbecues, because I know I'm going to be eating this weekend. But I'm asking you to remember the luxury of the freedom that we have to enjoy today. So at this time, I would like everybody to stand. And this is going to be a part of what you might partake in on Monday, so I'm going to ask you to bow your head and participate in a moment of silence with me. Thank you. And I thank you all for allowing me to be here and participate in your ceremony. It has been absolutely amazing, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, you may be seated. Thank you. Thank you again, Captain Hunt, for joining us today. Before Titus Bovendreyer and Jake Madsen perform taps this morning, I would like to welcome up Anna Nguyen and Livia Krogsman to share a brief history of the famous melody.
On any given day at Arlington National Cemetery, a military ritual occurs that is both familiar and moving. An escort of honor comes to attention and presents arms. Then a firing party comes to attention and fires 3 volleys. After the briefest of moments, a bugler then plays the 24 notes of America's most famous bugle call. The flag, held by members of the Military Honor Guard, is then folded into a triangle, reminiscent of a hat from the American Revolution. This ceremony is performed almost 20 times daily during the many funerals held at Arlington.
Of all the military bugle calls, none is so easily recognized or more apt to evoke emotion than the call taps. This melody is both eloquent and haunting, while the history of its origin is somewhat clouded in controversy. In the British Army, a similar type of signal call, last post, has been sounded over soldiers' graves since 1885. But the music and use of taps is unique to the United States military, since the call is sounded at funerals, wreath-laying ceremonies, and memorial services. It is a bugle call that beckons us to remember patriots who served our country with honor and valor.
At this time, 8th grader Jake Madsen and Titus Bobbin-Dreyer will lead us in a performance of taps.
Please stand. You may be seated.
As we close this morning, it is my hope that the musical selections, the message, and the readings have encouraged a greater appreciation and understanding of why we celebrate Memorial Day. I also hope that you have learned or been reminded of how important it is for all of us to take a moment and observe those who have sacrificed so much for us to live freely. Thank you for your attention this morning. As our 8th grade band plays, for the 8th graders here, we'll dismiss by section. And at this time, throughout the building, our students will transition to their day one first period classes. Thank you.